Before we officially get started, I just wanted to make some announcements. So a note about the washrooms. So unfortunately, we do not have access to the Queen Park washrooms. So please note that the closest accessible washrooms are the Tim Hortons back on College Street and University Avenue. And accessible and gender-neutral washrooms are available at the end of the March destination at Ryerson University. And a note about digital recording, please feel free to record as you will, but please make sure to ask people before you record or take pictures of them. Kevin will also be taking video and pictures for the website and Facebook page. Please use the hashtag TDPM2018 for your hashtags. And you can join in today by posting your pictures and video on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Again, that hashtag is TDPM2018. And I'm going to start with our land acknowledgement. So we recognize that many Indigenous nations have long-standing relationships with the territories upon which TDPM takes place. The Toronto Disability Pride March recognizes its presence on the traditional territory of many Indigenous nations. The area known as Toronto has been caretaken by the Anishinaabe Nation, the Haudenosaunee, the Confederation, the Huron-Wendat, Putan, and Métis nations. It is home to many Indigenous people from all over the world. We acknowledge the current treaty holders, Mississaugas of the New Credit First Nation. This territory is subject to the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Belt Covenant, an agreement to peaceably share and care for the Great Lakes Nation. And I'm suddenly aware of how windy it is, so I apologize.
Don't worry about it.
Okay. So the opening address, I want to, if everyone could please give a warm welcome to Zach Otoya and Widrick, who will be giving the very important presentation of the Mohawk Nation Thanksgiving address, the opening address before all things. So if you could please give them a warm welcome.
That was a good introduction. That's one I've heard in a long time. So is this what we got? Okay. Sego, Sego Guego, Tanu Wakunu Warados, Sagoyeta Nyongats, Kanyanga Hagen, Wagawanjato, Tanu Wagata Yoni, Wagata Lota. My name is Sagoyeta Widrick. I am a New York State Mohawk, Wolf Clan. My wolf is way over there with my wife. She decided to keep him there because I said that dog might eat these other little dogs around here. No, he wouldn't. He's a good service dog. He'd just howl at him. So with that, she already actually did a very good opening, because we were always taught whenever the people gather, we first of all have to say thank you. Nyawa go and they get disu jisego no when a salade katoji kanusne yung wadawiatu ni wahiloelo ne sankoya disu jisha to when a salage de what they know lado the no ten yet no lado jinigo ungay and hagaleji owen jate. So we give thanks for the people that have gathered here upon the earth. And in our language, one of the things I always tell my students, and I really like, we have a term when we first start saying thank you, is we don't separate the LGBTQ people or the disability people or any other people. We say Ungwe Sua. We are many different Ungwe people. We all belong together. We have no words for those other things that the English use to divide us. So welcome all of you. I am really happy to see you here today. And like she said, once again, on the territories of the Dish with One Spoon, that means anybody can be fed, anybody can sleep, anybody can be welcomed, anybody can gain rest. And that is our responsibilities as Ungwe Hui people. are what we call Iroquois hospitality, that if you come and knock on my door, I have to feed you, give you water, give you a place to rest, and help you on your journey. That is part of our original instructions, Jinyo Gualihota, we call it, that we follow. So with that, I am going to open with Mohawk, but then like I told Kevin, no one here would understand, so it would be like after we were done today, everybody saying, it sounded like Greek to me, you know. So I will change over to that Osaloni Geha, that English language that we've been forced to learn, and so we can communicate, but it's okay, we count those people too, the Osaloni, as welcome to these lands that we share. So Kajoko does what those seals got ni galewesa, ni gadio hanto galewe dego, angawana hesto. Ne wahinua, when a salade, gadoji, canusane, wadawiatu. Tanu, Danetanu Rado, Genugo Umwe, Yanagalagio and Jate. Tanu, Gisego e, Nehatierha, on Hota Segodi Wanuto, ne son Quayatisu, Eto Niotuhak, ne Ungwat Nagula. That Eto Niotuhak, Nungwat Nagula, reminds us always in our original Thanksgiving that we have to keep these things in our uppermost mind. They are the most important, that we turn around, that we always greet anyone that we meet and we welcome them as a friend. And we have a wampum belt that says way back a long time ago we committed to that, and we still honor that to this day. And that's why we're all here. We're all here on these lands and territories. So, we all have been given that understanding that we carry peace within our heart, and that's what we are to search for always. Peace with our fellow man, peace with the environment, peace with everything that exists in our understanding of the universe and the cosmic entity that in which we live. We also give thanks to this Mother, the Earth, that she has always provided everything we need. She's provided food. She gives us air every day. She gives us water to drink. She gives us all the things that we need to enjoy life on here. And we don't need a lot of those things that have been forced upon us. All we need is relationship, love, peace, and friendship. Mutual respect and friendship. We give thanks then for the medicines and the grasses out there. That to us as indigenous people is our pharmacy. It's to the grasses and to the natural world we always sought healing and peacefulness by spending time there and understanding that they have been instructed at the time of creation to give themselves to us if we ask for their permission to use them. And in that way we find ourselves fully satisfied with a context of what we call good health and well-being all the many days of our life for wherever we may be upon this earth. We give thanks for the waters that have come to us, that are there for us to drink, but we also have a reciprocity, I guess that's the English word, that we have to work to keep those waters clean for everybody so that we benefit. We give thanks for our fish brothers that are dwelling in those waters, that they look after the responsibilities of trying to keep those waters clean. And right now we are really giving them a hard task to do, because this earth is being polluted in a terrible way, and we have to work against that. We give thanks as well to Galuntasua, the trees around here that continue to, right now today, allow us to breathe beautiful oxygen. And the trees teach us to be good human beings, that they take in all of these negative carcinogens into air, and then they give out pure, clean oxygen. And you know something? When you walk by each tree, you don't hear any tree saying, "Hey buddy, you used up some of my oxygen, pay me $5. They say, "It's yours freely because I love you." And the trees teach us so much. And then we look at all of these things, the winds that continue to fly by. And one of the things we're noticing this year especially, that with the total deforestation on the planet, the trees were given the responsibility at the beginning of creation to make the winds behave. And now, because we have deforestation continuing, you notice the winds are getting stronger. They're getting like a child in a candy store saying, I want it all, I want to do as I please, don't stop me. And so we give thanks for, around here, especially today, the trees that we have. We give thanks for our elder brother, the sun, the one that is a symbol of the man. And in our culture, we were taught that sun guides us men, and it tells us you can only look after your responsibilities and half of what's in this creation. The other is the nighttime sun that we call the moon, and that is a cycle of the women where all life begins, and they are upheld in that way to where we always have to respect the women, the females, the life givers. And never do we ever speak to them inappropriately, act towards them inappropriately, but we always show respect for our female life givers. And then we give thanks for the stars that shine in the sky that help us to find our way. We don't need to look at a cell phone and a GPS originally to find our way. We looked at the stars and they helped us to travel the planet. We also turn around and say, Nyawagoa ne lati nega hawis ne galino galinios lati nega hawis ne ete sota. We give thanks for the birds, that they sing their songs, so that when we're out here walking today, we're not alone. We're at these ones that teach us sing. A friend of mine said I'd only sound like a frog if I sang, and I told him one time, the creation would be really silent if only the best people with the best voices sang. So sing. Right now we're seeing on the internet where it says sing 10 minutes a day, and it helps improve your life and your living and everything. So get together and sing in a good way. We give thanks for the animals, all of the animals that live on the earth, because they teach us so much about family relationships, how to look after our communities, how to look after each other. And then we give thanks for those great enlightened teachers that have watched over us and come to us. Whenever our people start walking off the path of following our original instructions, somewhere those enlightened teachers raise up someone to come and help us find that path again, so that we can find it in a good way, not just for a few people, but for all people. Remember that term, ungwe su'a, the many different ungwes. Many different. In our communities as Indians, we had people with as many as 15 different genders. And when I've taught that at the university where I used to teach, English professors used to laugh at me, and I said, we didn't have a problem with LGBTQ or people with disabilities or anything. They were people, all had to receive the benefits of life and living. And that's the way our Creator, Dagyat Disu, ordained it, and if we're following those instructions, that's how we have to work. And we give thanks for those many things. Then we always say as well, if there's anything that each one of you are holding in your minds today that I may have forgotten to speak about, think about that, and at this time, as we gather a bundle of thanksgiving and we offer it up to the natural world and the forces that be, that all of your thoughts and all of our minds, Eto Niotuha, may it be the uppermost in our mind as we say, Nyawagoa Neitagyat Disu. We thank you for all these many things, and that encompasses all belief systems, that encompasses any religion, anything we want to talk about, but it encompasses us people, Yanagaliji Owenjate, while we live on the earth, where we stand on the earth. Nyawagoa, many thanks for inviting me here today. You all take care and stay strong. I have another event in Brantford I have to get to that I am sorry I have to get to there. It would be nice to join you all today. And it's nice to look around and see all of you smiling in friendship. That's very, very good. Wajiyo yanale negiga. Wajiyo yanale negiga. This is very good. Eto niotoha nungwa nagua. Take care. Stay strong.
Thank you.
I have a quick little apology to make, actually. You may have noticed we don't have an ASL interpreter up here right now. We are supposed to have one. We have funding for one. They were scheduled to be here, and for whatever reason, they're not currently here right now. So we're working on finding out why that is, and my apologies to anyone that needs that interpretation. Thank you.
Please welcome David Leposki. David is a visiting professor at the Osgoode Hall Law School and an adjunct member of University of Toronto Faculty of Law. He holds volunteer leadership roles in the disability community. He is chair of the Accessibility for Ontarians with Disabilities Act Alliance. He is a member and past chair of the Toronto District Board Special Education Advisory Committee. So please help me in welcoming David.
So we do have a recording of David's presentation. David unfortunately couldn't be physically present with us. He had a family thing that could not be rearranged. Kevin has that recording. We're gonna come back to David's recording and move to our next speaker for now. We'll come back to David shortly.
Okay, so please help me in welcoming Dorothy Ellen Palmer. Dorothy is a disabled senior writer, binge knitter, mom, retired teacher, and improv coach. Over 3 decades as a high school English drama teacher and union activist, she created staff and student workshops to fight bullying, racism, sexism, sexual harassment, homophobia, and ableism. So please help me in welcoming Dorothy.
Hi, everybody. We have a lovely day to be out loud and proud. I want to thank, first of all, the organizers, Mel Graham, Kevin Jackson, all the volunteers, all the speakers, and all of you. Can you make some noise, please? You have a whole range of speakers today who are all wonderful. So although I've been given 5 minutes, I'm only going to take 2 to say 2 things. First thing, I'm a really rare creature and I don't want to be. I'm a disabled Canadian writer. Disabled people, as you well know, are 20% of the planet, 25% of adults, 30% of people my age, and 50% of people when I get to be a decade older. And unfortunately, we are 2% of Canadian arts and culture. There is a huge gap to be closed. That gap needs to be closed by people in all areas of arts and culture in order to tell authentic disabled stories, in order to have authentic disabled publishing, in order to have authentic disabled theater. We need to see more disabled people in the arts. Second thing, the hopeful thing, is that my literary community is bringing greetings to you today, and we're learning. Slowly, but learning. Several reading series have moved to accessible venues. The Arts Council, as many of you know, has started to have funding specifically for deaf and disabled artists. So the louder you are, the better the way you pave for everyone. Thank you so much again, and have a lovely day.
Give it up for Dorothy. Oh, we can get a little bit louder than that. So our next, if you could help me in welcoming our next speaker, who is Michael.
So my name is Michael. Unfortunately, our Toronto president, People First, couldn't be here, so I'm speaking in his place. So I actually wanted to say I'm proud to be here amongst all of you, celebrating Disability Pride. And I believe it's the most important thing that we need to recognize is that we all have our own gifts. See, people with disabilities would not be recognized if it were not for people like Peter Park, who is the godfather of self-advocacy. And we need to recognize that. I mean, we're currently working on being recognized ourselves. We shouldn't have to. We should have people respect us for who we are. Peter Park started a provincial organization known as People First Ontario roughly about 30 years ago and around there. And currently it's still running strong. We have a handful of chapters in our provinces, and we all have our own gifts. And I'm actually proud to say that People First Toronto has now been reformed, and is now another one of the local chapters, part of a larger organization for people with disabilities, both intellectual and developmental. And the Toronto chapter would not be here if it weren't for myself and two other great people. And I actually want to thank those people. I actually want to recognize Gaston and Kelly. If it weren't for them, Toronto chapter would not have been reformed. And he's right back there. Right back there. So, I believe in the important work of self-advocacy. And I believe that we should all share that work and work towards a greater challenge of finding ourselves, of who we are, where we belong. And I'm hoping that this work can continue on for generations to come.
Show some love to Michael, please. Louder. Who's getting excited? Awesome. So please help me in welcome DM LaFortune. So DM is a powerful Plains Cree Horizon dancer and Jewish Renaissance woman who describes herself as Kruish. DM is an award-winning singer-songwriter, published poet, and writer. Canada Council awarded photographer and recognized activist and respected and feared advocate with brilliant intersectionality analysis. So please.
I think she's still on her way. Oh, I see. We'll move to so we're just going to move on to the next speaker.
Okay, so please help me in welcoming Renée. Dion is a powerful advocate and mayoral candidate for Toronto 2018 election. Dion is always working with our community to ensure we feel like we all have the ability to live and thrive. Accessibility is a right and not an option. Please help me in welcoming Dion.
Thank you, Melissa. You're doing a great job. Let's give Melissa a hand, everybody. So I thought about my speech, and I have 2 words. You matter. Mic drop. End. Okay, that would have been a shorter speech, but we're going to go a little bit longer than that. So what I wanted to share are a few things. You matter, and you know that. The problem is other people don't seem to acknowledge what our elder said earlier of seeing everyone and recognizing that everyone has the right to live and thrive. So when we're marching, I want you to remember this. Accessibility is a right, not an option. So always the response is, accessibility is a right. That's right, one more time, accessibility is a right. You've got it. And that's how we need to move in this world, recognizing and remembering that accessibility is a right, not an option. I am Renée. I am your mayoral candidate if you live in the city of Toronto, and I'm making sure that we all have the ability to live and thrive. You may not be seeing me on the news. Right? And you may be aware that certain candidates are being promoted and highlighted and their voices are being amplified. Isn't that usually the way? So the people who have showed up here today, I want to just acknowledge a few people that I've seen in the crowd who are showing up for people all the time, and that is the expectation of everybody in this group. You've got to show up every time when you're able to advocate and to advance your rights. And your rights are not limited to your own personal rights. Your rights are our rights. Your right matters to me, and my right should matter to you. So when we show up for events, we show up for every event because it all affects our lives. I want to point out, I saw Pam. There's Pam. See this dear sister here? Let's give her a shout out. Woo! Now, she is one of the people, there are many of us who are amplifiers. We like to amplify the voice of the public. In fact, that's what we should be doing. I'm not a photo op person. I'm not interested in that. What I'm interested in ensuring that the public has the needs that we need and are accessing the rights that we should be entitled to. Pam has been advocating. You can see her t-shirt. It says 15 in fairness. If you're getting a wage of $15 or about to, it's because this sister, along with community, in support, together, went forward to advocate for that right so that you could have that access to have a fair and decent wage to earn a living. Thank you, Pam. Woo! I want to acknowledge our dear sister and founder of the Disability Pride March, Melissa Graham. It was 8 years ago that this sister thought of this event. And then where's our brother Kevin? Where is Kevin? Kevin will be speaking shortly, but Kevin's way back there doing something. There he is, waving. There he is, always up to something, helping out wherever he can. These two are the co-founders of the Toronto Disability Pride March. And as a result of their effort to say, hey, people with disabilities need to be acknowledged as well, that we need to have pride in our disabilities, and we need to be able to say it to the world and for the world to join us in that. And so they actively are championing, just not this one day, throughout the year, advancing disability rights, advancing accessibility. I know Melissa and I have campaigned together, and not on the campaign trail, she's about to join me shortly, but I'm talking specifically about fighting for people's rights. And of course, the Disability Pride team, they have just been amazing. Where is, okay, so first of all, we'll look at Melissa because she's right here, right? And where is, where's Janet? Janet's always hiding. She's an amplifier right there, right beside our dear sister there. She usually hides because she's also an amplifier. Then there's Karina, who will be speaking shortly. These guys have been around for a long time. Oh, way over there, right over there. There she is. You'll see her because she'll be speaking soon. All of these individuals have come together collectively to ensure that this Disability Pride March is a success. I want to say something else to you, and I was thinking about it for this week. You all may remember I spoke last year, and it was just after being assaulted by the Toronto Police at Toronto Police headquarters. You may remember that. And I was thinking this week leading up to the march, I said, wow, why am I in so much pain? Like I'm feeling pain in my breast, and I'm feeling pain in my leg and in my back, and my throat is hurting. And because I'm thinking, what did I do this week other than canvas? And then it hit me. It was trauma. I was re-triggered leading up because I'd been looking at the calendar, knowing that the Disability Pride March was coming up, looking at September 21st when I was first assaulted at police headquarters, and thinking how horrible it is for trauma to take place and how that has taken over my mindset that comes this weekend rather than the Toronto Disability Pride March, which is what I look forward to. And so I said to myself, I need to choose the changing of my thinking and rethink how I'm experiencing trauma, recognizing that trauma is oftentimes a part of our lives, not to dismiss it in any way, but to choose what it is that I'm going to celebrate during this time of the year, because literally it was right around the Toronto Disability Pride March. So I said to myself, as I had to get through this week, that today is a new day. And I'm asking you to say as well, every morning that you get up, today is a new day. I want to ask you to say, today is a new day. Can I hear you say that with me if you're okay with saying that? Today is a new day. And that's how we walk, talk, breathe, move, sing, dance in this world, recognizing that today is a new day. Every single person in this world has that same saying when they get up in the morning, that today is a new day.
And with saying that, if I may say that, we have to learn to accept change. And yes, we all have trauma in our lives, guys, but we got to help supply the microphone.
Yeah, brother, I have to keep to a schedule, but what you're saying is exactly right. Yeah. And the reality is that what we do is to know that this world is not built for everyone.
Yeah,
it is this world, the way in which barriers are in place that keep people from being able to access the things that they need to access and do the things that they need to do. So that is what I'm fighting for to change in my candidacy. I'm fighting to ensure that we break down barriers. I'm fighting to ensure that we all have the ability to live and thrive. So it's very simple. My name is the only one on your ballot with the exclamation mark. So if you forget my name, look for the exclamation mark. Okay? I am a creative person. I have always been, so know that fact. If you forget my name, look for the exclamation mark on your ballot. I want to say, do not keep allowing people to take advantage of you. Do not expect people to fight for you who haven't been fighting for you. Do not give your energy and time and efforts to people who have no interest in protecting your rights and interests. And when I say that, I'm saying it directly to you, because as a mayoral candidate in this election, it constantly bogs my mind why we're breaking our backs to advance people's rights, but then people just get parachuted in and get amplified by the establishment to maintain status quo that has nothing for you and me. So I'm asking you again, you have the ability today, when you leave here today, to get on the internet if you have access to internet, to go out and campaign with candidates that you support, and to tell others, vote Renée on election day. A vote for me becomes a voice for you, and I'm not afraid to say that because that's the truth. Okay? I've decided that I'm no longer going to advocate or fight fight on behalf of people who I've never seen in the struggle, never seen in the battle, never see them publicly advance our rights or protect our interests. Never again. I'm tired of it. It wastes my time and our time because we come back to another 4 years of the same thing. And I'm not willing to put up with that anymore. So please remember, when you're going to cast your ballot, who is actually fighting for you? Because it's not the two people that are promoted in the media. And shame on the unions for saying that they're supporting candidates who have no interest in protecting the workers' rights. People work hard and they fight hard and they're marching and protesting in the streets. What for? Just to come back to do the same thing again because the people you elect have not served you. So call them out. You have the right to do so. Call them out publicly. People don't deserve your vote if they're not serving you. That's my time. Thank you for your time, but I want to ask you again. Accessibility is a right. Accessibility is a right. Accessibility is a right. Thank you, Renée, exclamation mark on your ballot. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, sister.
Give it up for Dion. You could all get a little bit louder. Come on. Who's excited to march? Good. All right. I have the pleasure of introducing Odelia Bay. Odelia is going to be talking to us about episodic disability, discrimination, and workplace rights. Odelia speaks to these issues as a labor and human rights lawyer, disability legal studies PhD student, and someone who experiences episodic disability. Conversations about fostering more inclusive and humane work environments. Odelia also volunteers as a head marshal for the Toronto Disability Pride March. Welcome, Odelia.
Thank you, Melissa. I'm going to try and keep it brief, I promised Kevin. I'm also a bit nervous today, so I wrote my notes here. I wanted to speak just from the heart, but I assure you I wrote these from the heart. This winter, I am celebrating my 10-year anniversary with disability. And I say celebrating, not just marking, because I have learned a lot through my experiences with multiple sclerosis. These are experiences that shape who I am and what I know. I'm going to talk a little bit about what Melissa said I was going to talk about, episodic disability in work, but I also want to finish by talking about disability pride. What is episodic disability? Well, like the term suggests, it's a disability that is episodic. It comes and goes, or at least it can for many people. Everyone's experience is different. It covers a whole range of disabilities. But in general, episodic disabilities are unpredictable. The impairments, fluctuate, meaning some days are better and some days are worse. And often they are invisible, meaning that other people probably won't know that I have a disability unless I tell them. More than 80% of Canadians who report a disability may be classified as having an episodic disability. 80%. That means what you see, what you think you know about disability, nothing. So many more people are impacted. I am deliberately using the term episodic disability today because for me it is a reclaiming of my experiences with MS. For me, yes, there are health issues and there are things going on within my body, but it is the impact of how I am treated as I move through this world that is disabling. It is every barrier, every microaggression, every time I have to justify my actions or my existence, every time I have to ask for help, every time I have to speak up for my rights. That is disability. I also use the term for others because it's important to give the language to talk about the experiences and needs of all people with disabilities. In order to enforce rights, you have to have the language to explain the situation and the needs. When I was first diagnosed with MS, I went to a support group of people newly diagnosed with MS. And we sat around a table and we talked about our experiences and what we were worried about. And I have to tell you that more than 50% or half the people around that table talked about problems they had at work. They faced stigma, discrimination. Some lost their jobs. It turns out that that 50% number, the people in that room that day, is a real low ball number. According to the Ontario Human Rights Commission, Nearly 70% of people who identify as having a disability say they have faced discrimination at work. 70%. That is the vast majority. In actual fact, disabled workers not only have the right not to be discriminated against, we also have the right to accommodation in the workplace. And yet, as people with disabilities, we face challenges in getting the accommodation we need and have a right to. Within workplaces, policies may be unclear or confusing if they exist at all. Decision makers may lack information. The process of having to prove disability can be stressful and demeaning. And let's face it, whether or not you get what you need, it can be a total crapshoot. And this is why we have to have a good foundation and of strong workers' rights and a robust system of social supports in this province. We're standing outside the legislature today with a new Conservative government led by Doug Ford. But having strong workers' rights and robust social supports benefits everyone. And while it benefits everyone, it especially helps those who face the confusion, the stigma, the stress, and the uncertainty. People who need these supports the most. And yet here we are in Ontario with Premier Ford and the Conservative government, and here we are witnessing an all-out attack on workers, on people who are forced to live in poverty, on people with disabilities. And that's why now is the time for us to rise up and be counted. Invisibility is a double-edged sword. I had a choice today about whether or not I wanted to speak up and make myself visible. I know that that's a privilege. But I also know that for every single person like me, there are many, many more who cannot come forward. Now is the time to put a human face on the policy discussions and debate. Now is the time to speak up and let our friends, our co-workers, and our neighbors know just how many people we're talking about here. Now is the time to demonstrate how much damage this Ford government is capable of. And now is the time for us to rise and show our disability pride. Amen. Thank you very much. Give it up for Odelia. Come on, louder. There we go. I just wanted to check in to see if our next speaker is here. Sarah?
Sarah Gemma was trying really hard to be here. She had a chair breakdown and she's coming from Hamilton. So I'm hoping she joins us at some point. But hopefully she gets here.
So now I have the pleasure of introducing Russell Roskinis. Russell is a passionate mental health advocate who is currently working towards suicide prevention and self-harm reduction. He is working on his PhD in critical disability studies at York University. Russell is also involved with various student associations, interdisciplinary academic groups, and politics. Russell is one of our lead marshals. Welcome, Russell.
Thank you. Also, I just want to thank Toronto Disability Pride March Organizing Committee for giving me this chance to speak today and organizing this event for us. I think it's fantastic work they do, and I just wanted to acknowledge that before I start. So thank you. So when I was thinking of this speech today, I wanted to talk about maybe what Toronto Disability Pride March means to me, what this event means to me. And to do that, I got to give a little bit of a background about where I'm coming from with this. So a couple of years ago, I had the privilege to start working with this awesome psychologist. And for whatever reason, we built up this awesome rapport. And for the first time in my life, I felt for that hour that it was like the safest place in the world for me. And I don't know how she did it, and I couldn't figure out why. And along the way, she got me to kind of think about like how I'm going to deal with my mental distress and how to keep myself safe and healthy. So we came up with this concept I have in my apartment now called a comfort corner. And in this comfort corner, I have things that kind of help me relax and distress when things are getting too much. But I also wanted to decorate it. So I took to Amazon and I was looking and I typed in an inspirational quote, decals, and most of them are really, really cliche and they don't really work. But then there's just one that stood out for me and then everything started to make sense. And it says, be your own kind of beautiful. Amen. Right? Amen. And then it made sense. She was trying to teach me that I'm beautiful and trying to bring it out with me. That's what my psychologist was doing. And when I stand here and I come to this march every year, this is be your own kind of beautiful. This is the space where we can be our own kind of beauty. You know, so often it's normalized and standardized and we're told this is what beauty looks like. Nah, scrap that. Beauty is something that comes within and we're born with it. And we all have our unique beauty. So when I'm standing here at the front, all I see is a collage of beautiful people, of beautiful souls and spirits. And this is a place that we can safely express that without judgment from ableism and Satanism, the forces that surround us in our day-to-day lives. So when I'm marching today, and I hope maybe when you're marching today, maybe you can think, you know, this is what beauty looks like. Maybe this can be one of our slogans. So remember, be your own kind of beautiful. Thank you.
Give it up for Russell. So accessibility is a right and? Accessibility is a right? Awesome. Okay, I have the pleasure of introducing Karina Wilson. So Karina is a leader in chronic illness and chronic pain self-management. She's a peer facilitator for both, as well as a master trainer in chronic pain and self-management for Choose Health Toronto Central. She is also passionate about poverty and how it overlaps with chronic illness. She has been part of the city's poverty reduction strategy lived experience advisory group for the past 2 years. Welcome, Karina.
Hi. Just before I start, I just want to mention we have some snacks and juice boxes down by the bench over there. So before the march, if you want to grab some, you're welcome to them as long as they last. Okay. And I just want to talk briefly about disability and poverty. In this province, they tend to overlap a lot because ODSP is not adequate. And it's a broken system that keeps us in poverty by design. And also, disability is expensive. All the added costs that come up, it's ridiculous sometimes. And so ODSP is barely a livable wage, and there's a shortage of accessible, affordable housing. And we just elected Doug Ford, among a myriad of other reasons. As mentioned, I'm part of the Lived Experience Advisory Group for the city's poverty reduction strategy. And so my representation there is for chronic illness and disability. And because, as I said, they overlap a lot, and it's only going to get worse in the next few years because we've elected this new government. So now's the time to rise up and make change. So that's what we're here for today. And I want to thank you all for coming out. And I'll just hand it over, keep it short.
Thank you, Karina. Give it up for Karina.
I feel like this next person doesn't need much of an introduction, but here we go. Kevin Jackson has been part of the city's Poverty Reduction Strategy Lived Experience Advisory Group for the last 2 years, and he has been a Toronto Disability Pride March organizer since 2012. Please help me in welcoming Kevin.
Hello. Thanks, Karina. I'm also here as an organizer of the TDPM 2018 and a league member. I'm an organizing member of the march as well as a league member. Thank you. Love it. As league members, we were given months of training, skills development, and experience with board meetings. Activist writer Pat Capone was also involved in the initial stages of the league. So that was kind of a good place to start. And the paid training, although minimal, assisted members with essential basics like tokens, honorarium, and food, which allowed us to focus on becoming a more cohesive group. I think maybe I should give a background here. Karina and myself are working with the Poverty Reduction Strategy Office of the City of Toronto. And one of the sort of the conditions of their assistance today was ASL support and tokens. We got the tokens. We didn't get. I don't believe we got the ASL. So I'm still doing my part and reporting on my participation in the league. However, the city has not come through with their side of it. So I'm sort of giving this. Is everything okay? Okay, so the issue is that we were promised some ASL support and some tokens, but the ASL support did not arrive. So we're not too happy about that, but I'm keeping my part of the deal, and I'm talking about my work with the Poverty Reduction Strategy Office. So that's the background in this. So Pat Capone was actually part of the initial drafting of the plan of the Poverty Reduction Strategy and the League itself, which is the Lived Experience Advisory Group. And that was a very good place for us to start. We were given paid training, tokens, a little bit of food, and we were basically the basic needs that we had to participate. And not all of us actually stayed in the league, but the ones who stayed made sure the interests of the most vulnerable were included, as we come from these groups ourselves. After training, league members, which is the Lived Experience Advisory Group of the City of Toronto, the members worked on to realize its 3 mandated goals. Number 1 is advocacy, number 2 is education and awareness, and number 3 is monitoring and evaluation. It is essential for us to, quote, have a place at the table, and that's a quote from Dr. David Revel, which is a former NDP MPP. So following that idea, it's fairly clear that we can do very little if we are not even invited to join the conversation. But now we are. So although being in a City Hall space can be very intimidating, each of us on the league came, each of us came to the meetings and gave our honest but compassionate feedback and critiques. City staff initially were a bit controlling, but that relaxed and there was a very good energy and much was accomplished. And it's important to note here that although league members have had little sway over the actual policy, as a group we are making significant advances to city and even provincial level policy. So we're a group of about 7 to 10 of us are making massive impacts. It's not being felt right now, but it's going to be a bit of a slow process, but we're actually there. And it's interesting to note, aside from the ASL not being here, okay, I'm sorry, I just need some time here. So sorry. The staff of the Poverty Reduction Strategy Office, we found that they're actually quite dedicated to reducing poverty. So the league members and the city were sort of working together, and that's kind of a unique experience for me anyway. So as we completed our final year with the Poverty Reduction Strategy Office, league members will begin to help initiate a new group of poverty reduction activists. So please do contact the City of Toronto's Poverty Reduction Strategy Office if you want to get involved or want to check out the League report or Poverty Reduction Strategy Conversation Toolkit. There's a good future ahead of us if we repeatedly demonstrate, as we repeatedly demonstrate to others how well we do when we're given the tools to do so. The League, as a model, has a chance to be applied to and for cities all over North America and maybe beyond, but it takes time to do such important work. And the League, with the help of the Poverty Reduction Strategy, are making this potential future possible. So a big thanks goes out to the Poverty Reduction Strategy Office, kind of, and the League, which there's three of us here, four of us. I think B is here, Colin is here, Kevin is here, and where's Karina? Karina is here as well. So there's four of us here, maybe more. So thank you for all of your hard work. And as I said, it takes time to make these important changes, but at least we got a place at the table. So as I said, the Poverty Reduction Strategy Office has given us 50 tokens, which we've almost handed all of them out. If you need any, please come talk to me. The ASL support is not here, but this is proof that I'm still carrying out, and we are all carrying out our obligation to report back to the community, which is what we're doing. However, they did not provide ASL support, so they didn't actually keep their word. But we respect that they're as dedicated to the cause as we are, but there's obviously a lot of room for improvement. So thank you very much, and please welcome our final rally speaker, I think, Melissa Graham. Thank you.
So just before I give the mic to Melissa, so just a suggestion for marching. As we begin marching, we suggest that you follow along with the column, and if needed, please follow the direction of our marchers who will be on the left side of the column as we march. If you have any concerns, problems, or issues, please notify your closest marshal. If you would like to use the accessible taxi, please let them know as well.
It's right over there. You want to start heading in that direction? It's the white taxi. It's a white taxi right over there if you want to start heading in that direction if you need the taxi. Okay?
Okay, so I have the pleasure of introducing our last speaker, my dear friend, Crip sister, and founder of the Disability Pride March, Melissa Graham. Come on, louder. Melissa is an activist involved in disability issues throughout Ontario and other social justice concerns, and has served on the Disability Access and Inclusion Advisory Committee for the City of Toronto. Melissa has also been known to enjoy the occasional wheelchair bungee jump.
Thank you, Melissa, and I want to say at first a big thank you to Melissa, who literally filled in at the last minute for us to be our MC, and she's doing a great job. And I want to thank all of you for coming out today. I know this speaking part is really long, but we've had a lot of great speakers this year, so thank you for sitting out in the sun with us. First I want to ask, for any of you this is your first march, can you please give a shout or wave your hands or somehow indicate that this is your first march? Can we get an extra applause for those people, please? And the little ones in the back, that this is obviously their first march. And I believe we have some members of provincial parliament today. I was told, I'm not sure if they are still here. But if they are here, hello? So we don't normally make space for politicians to speak, but we do acknowledge their presence and very glad that they take the time to be here today, so thank you. So I'm so glad all of you are here today, and I hope you all had a great time. Are you having a great time? I don't know if I believe that. You might want to try a little louder. There we go. So as you've already heard, I founded this march back in 2011. It feels like a long time ago. And I'm proud to see how much bigger and stronger we've become. I want to take a moment, though, to talk about why we're here. This march started, again, back in 2011, when the late Mayor Rob Ford was around. Y'all remember him? Allegedly. So at the time, he wanted to propose a lot of cuts that would have significantly impacted disabled people. Things like cuts to wheel-trans, cuts to social housing, cuts to the TTC, and I thought that wasn't okay. And a group of other people also thought that wasn't okay and came together in a very ad hoc way, and it's been going on ever since. Now, since that time, a lot has changed, but a lot of those issues that brought us together remain the same. But I want to get a little bit about what has changed. We have seen transit slowly become more accessible, and wheel-trans has been, well, forced to become a little more flexible with us. Although it's nowhere near where we'd like it to be. We've seen the creation of an Accessible Canada Act, which I think is something to be pretty proud of. We don't know yet where it's going to go, but it was people organizing and speaking out about it at marches, including ours, that brought it to the attention during the federal election. I think that's something we have to be pretty proud of. And as Kevin was speaking to, we've started having meaningful shifts in the discussion about poverty, employment, and housing. We've also had to ask important questions about what it means when disabled people are using the excuse to hold down the minimum wage, instead of increasing the amount of wages that people with social assistance get to hold on to for themselves. We've had to struggle with questions about dying with dignity means in a province and country where we don't yet allow people to live necessarily with that dignity. I gotta switch pages. We've also seen Black Lives Matter, Idle No More, Me Too, and how those intersect with disability. Some of us are still trying to figure out where we fit in this new reignited disability in mind movement that demands the recognition that we are as diverse as the communities we come from, and the dismantling all forms of oppression, not just one. I think that is a big part of the discussion of everything that's happened since 2011. We have to remember that. We're not in that era that Rob Ford was in when he was trying to cut us all back. Things have changed, and I'm not sure if Doug Ford recognizes that. We're not in the same position to take it as we were back then. There's a lot of damage he can do, and has done, to basic income, social assistance rates, and whatever else he might try to do. But we are not the same people we were back then. We're not in the same place where we're just gonna take it. All of these changes that I mentioned earlier, all those movements and all those struggles came from people like us coming together in community to say that it wasn't okay. It wasn't okay for things to continue as they are. And I thank you all for being here today to be part of that. We've proven that when we come together, we can shift the conversation and change the direction of things to come. And that is an awesome power. I think Doug Ford and the people that would support him are a little bit afraid of that power, which is all the more reason we need to come together like this today. So while it's true that poverty is still here, and ableism and sadism are still here, and all the forms of repression and lack of accessibility and lack of funding and the things we need still try to keep us down, we are still here. And we're going to keep coming back year after year, visible, united, and proud, because we deserve to live in a city and province that respects us for the strength in our differences. The people united will never be defeated. The people united will never be defeated.
The people united will never be defeated.
Are we ready to get marching? All right.
I'm going to make some strategic announcements. If we could get the marshals, all those in the bright vests, up to the front briefly. And we are going to ask everyone else to start to get information here along this pathway for our march. We will be leaving to the east of us, okay? And we also need to be sure that we have the banner ready to go at the front here. Thank you.
Okay, let's go with our banner, guys. It's your day. Woo, Roger. Way up here. I would you. Love it. Love it, guys. Yes, sir. We're coming right to the end. Good stuff. I might click out that. And I'll meet you guys up. Okay, awesome. I'm going to go on the top because I can't go the distance. And I will see everybody at the end. Hey, yes, I'm running for mayor. I'm going to be on your ballot, brother. I'm on your ballot. Be on Renee with the explanation. But do you live in Toronto?
I'm living in
King City, like north? Oh, I gotcha, yeah. So you have to be a Toronto resident. If you're living in Toronto, you'll be on your ballot. Yeah. But if you've got friends in Toronto, okay. But you can tell your friends, you can still tweet it. Everybody knows about you guys.
I want to take a picture. Where's the doula? You're doing great. And I just where's the doula? Yeah, Abdullah. Abdullah.
My brother, how are you?
Abdullah.
Are you okay bending down? Bending down, yeah. Can you hand me this because I can't bend down? So wait, yeah. First the recorder. Thank you, my friend. And thank you, my friend. And I'm going to be recording everybody still as we go. And maybe what I'll do is just pause it now. Our bodies, not yours. Our bodies, not yours. Whose bodies? Our bodies. Whose bodies? Our bodies. Whose mind? Our mind. Whose mind? Our mind. Whose choices? Whose choices? I'm so glad you still have the contact. Bodies. Good to see you. I just started recording. Whose mind? Whose minds? Whose choices? Whose choices? We met the fabulous Natalie. Oh yeah, we're next on the tag. I'm going in your bag. I just came out briefly. Nice to see you. Aww. I was in the van because it hurts me to walk sometimes because of my back and my injuries. Yeah. I'll be right back. I'm going to go to the front, okay? Do you want your daughter on camera? Do you want your daughter on camera? Because I normally keep kids out unless the parents say yes. No, that's exactly why I don't include parents. So that's why I wanted to make sure that people know that we're filming. Do you know what I mean? Because there's people videotaping it. So do you need us to say something? Okay.
When I say ableism, you say no. Ableism. 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 No. Ableism.
in the gap as always. Love it. Let me take a picture of that. Love it, eh? Filling in the gap. Oh yeah, go ahead, go ahead. I didn't even get it until you said pothole. Filling in the gap as always. Pothole. Yeah, big time. You are so amazing. Oh.